Hello, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, we're going to be making my elderberry syrup. So this is something that I do every year. This past year I didn't do it, and boy, can I tell the difference. I have done this since my daughter was maybe a little before she was 1, and I have seen a big improvement because she goes to daycare and they're always sick. And so ever since I tried this with her, she's been doing amazing. The type of syrup that I'm going to be going over is the one that you want to take daily for a boost of your immune system. There is another one you can take that will help you during cold season if you have an actual cold, and I will maybe tell you the difference in the ingredients later. But I will also tell you the difference between making it kid friendly for the age under 2, or I think it's under 1 because they can't have honey, what I use, and then for those above the age of 1 with raw honey. So I am going to show you how to make my elderberry syrup, and I'm going to go over my ingredients list first. So my favorite company to order raw herbs from online is Mountain Rose Herbs. Mountain Rose. I know, I used it already, so I was trying to... They have... I'll probably need to turn this around, but they have the best ingredients that I know of. I have the elderberry, the actual dried berries. If you can see that. Let me see if I can... I don't know. I'll show you later. But the elderberry, the dry elderberry. I also, because I got this also from Mountain Herbs, which is elderflower. And the reason why it's in a brown paper bag is because I split this with my friends. My friend, we typically do one order because it's cheaper to ship, so we order a lot of our herbs together. This is the elderflower. We order a lot of our herbs together, whether that is for tea. We do a lot of tea, the elderberry syrup, and other things you do with herbs that I won't get into in this video. And we're going to be using cinnamon sticks. You can also use a little bit of cinnamon, and then I have cloves, so I'll be using some of these, and I'll show you that as well. And then some raw ginger, some fresh ginger, and I really like the ginger, and so I'm gonna cut that up a little bit. And then some raw honey, and then for kids under 1, I use agave. So yeah, this is what I used to use for my daughter when she was younger. I still might make 2 separate batches, one with honey and one with the agave, just to see how well my niece does. So let's get started, and I hope you enjoy. Here is the elderberries from the Mountain Rose Herbs, and I put about 1 cup in. But before I go there, I want to finish some other ingredients. You want to have a strainer or a cheesecloth, and also a funnel, and your mason jars that I showed you earlier. And you want to use spring water. This is purified water, but this is all I have right now. But you want to use spring water or distilled water. So that's what I'm about to do. Okay, so I have about a cup of blueberries in here because that's pretty much all I have left out of my other batches. I'm gonna see what 1 cup of water looks like. I might have to do, that looks pretty good, but I'm gonna do 1.5 cups, a little over 1.5 cups, because I have other ingredients that are going in here. So you want to do 1 to 2 parts, or 1 to 1.5 parts. Now I'm going to cut up some ginger. The stove is not on yet, but I'm going to cut up some ginger to put in here. Alright, so we're about to cut up some ginger. And I'm gonna take some skin off, even though I know in some cultures we don't take the skin off, but for certain purposes, I'll let you guys know. I'm gonna take some of the skin off of this, and I want to expose some of the ginger to the mixture, just so it's more potent. I don't want to make it too overpowering, but I will tell you that the elderberry itself is a little bitter. It's not sweet unless you're adding honey. So I will say that it's a little bitter. So we're just gonna cut up some more ginger, as much as you like. There's no real science to the ginger. The only science is the amount of water, the amount of elderberry, and the amount of honey, and the temperature. That's the only science you need to know. And I'm not a scientist, so I'm not going to even pretend to let you know. I'm not even going to forget to use some of this ginger. I'm going to use that and something else. That should be enough. Now I'm going to put a little clove in there. And they don't usually... Let me move this to the side. I honestly don't know why these holes are here, because it never really comes out. So just put a little clove in there. You don't need that many. Especially if you're making a small batch like I am, you don't need that much. And then you want to do... I'm probably just going to do 1 cinnamon stick. This is what it's looking like. Depending on how well this boils down, I may add more water. So I'll come back and let you know if I add more water, but you want to bring this to a boil and then let it simmer for about 45 minutes or an hour. But because I don't have that much water or elderberry in here, I'm probably only going to do between 30 minutes to 45 minutes. So here it is, the elderberry. It's already turning the water colors. This cinnamon, the clove, and the ginger. So let's let that boil, and then we'll turn it down for a simmer. And because I realized I didn't have much, I may transfer this into a smaller pan, because just to have a little bit more. So yeah, I'll be back and let you know. It's boiling now. Give it a stir. Oh, it's a little foam. Hold on. Sometimes you got to be careful because it sticks to the bottom of the pan. So don't let it stick. Okay, I'm going to turn it down so that it will simmer. It's foggy in here now. So it's going to simmer, and then I'm going to put the lid on it for about 30 to 45 minutes. Y'all, how I keep forgetting, and I've only made it twice this year, but it's now November, and I think the last time I made it was probably January. It makes your house smell so good. It smells like the holidays. It smells like winter and fall. Like the clove, the cinnamon, the ginger, like it just smells so good. It's almost done. I'm gonna give it about 5 to 10 more minutes. As you can see, yes, look at that. Oh, I wish you guys could smell this through the television or through the smell-o-vision. Oh, that smells so good. Smells so good. I kind of want to add more water, but I don't want to water it down because this is a syrup, and syrup is meant to be more concentrated and more potent than a tea. So yeah, I don't want to water this down. I need the effects to like stay there. Okay, so I turned it off, and what I'm going to do is add some of the elderflower to let it steep while that is cooling down some, and I'll explain why it needs to cool down some in a minute. So I added some of the elderflower, and it's basically, you want to basically let it cook like a tea. So you're not letting that boil. It's pretty delicate. So you're not boiling it. You're just letting that seep or steep in the water for a little bit, and then we're gonna strain. It. Okay, the other reason why you want to let it cool down just a little bit before you add your raw honey or your agave. Again, this is the raw honey that I'll be using. And then I'm probably going to do a separate batch for the kids with some agave. And the reason why you want to do it separate is because you don't want to burn the honey or mess up the properties of the honey. And so you're going to let this cool down a little bit, not completely, because you'll still need it to be hot in order for the honey to absorb in the into the syrup. And also you don't want to have the honey stick to any of the ingredients as well. So we're going to let that sit just for about, I'll let it sit for about 5 more minutes, and then I'll come back to strain it. All right, I think it sat long enough. And oh, I accidentally left the stove on. No. All right, so I accidentally left the stove on, but that's okay. Don't do what I just did. Anyway, so what we're gonna do is we are going to strain this and add our honey, and then separate our containers. Okay, so what I'm gonna use is, this is like a 4 cup measuring cup, a regular strainer, because that's all I have right now. And then we're just going to pour the items in here. Okay, so we're just going to strain it in here. Be careful also, because this can stain. So just be careful also, because it's hot. So I'm just going to pour in. It could splatter too. So just be careful. You want to try to get all the ingredients in there, because you're going to get all the juices out of there. I'm going to try to take out the cinnamon stick and ginger so we can press down the elderberry. So I'm going to get that out. Hold on one moment. So I'm just going to take the cinnamon stick out. I'm going to take some of the ginger out. And then we'll press some of the elderberry down so that we'll get some more juice out of there. We're not wasting any ingredients. You can actually probably make a tea out of the leftover ingredients. Just add a little hot water to what I'm putting over here. And then you can make a tea out of this. Make a tea, strain it again, and make a tea after you let it sit with some hot water. And put some honey with it. That'd be nice. So this is what I mean by getting the rest of the juices out of there, is that you're going to press down. You see how more, now while it's still hot, not steaming hot, not boiling hot, but pretty hot, warm enough for the honey to dissolve in it, I am going to start with a 1/2 cup, because I didn't make much syrup this time. But typically you want to go with a cup if you're going to do about 2 cups of, I did basically just a cup, 1/2 cup of honey. It should blend in pretty nicely. So all I'm going to do is separate the elderberry syrup into 2 mason jars. And this will be between my daughter and my niece. So we'll split this between both households. Should be just enough for both. It's just enough for both. Usually I make just about enough for both. Also, and then you just want to seal it with your in glass jars, and this is for the refrigerator. Leftover sticker paper, and I'm just gonna put the date on them. Now these are good to go in the fridge. All right, that's the elderberry syrup that I personally use. You can use whatever herbs that you like to use, especially for immune boosting properties or any particular health that you want to use. This is for a syrup at everyday use. So 1 teaspoon to tablespoon a day is perfectly fine. For a teaspoon for a kid and maybe a tablespoon for an adult. You can do this every day. This is prepared for refrigerate only. So this belongs in a refrigerator. It's only good for a few months, between 3 to 6 months, I believe. But you shouldn't, at least the small amount that I use, you probably won't have it for that long. I think about 6 months, you'll be good. There is a way to do it if you want to keep it on the shelf, but I don't do it that way. I don't want to keep it that long. I do make it small batches so that you can put it in a refrigerator. Makes it easy. If a few tips that I have is, if your child does not like the taste of it, I put it in their breakfast milk or their breakfast juice for that day. You want it to be, even if you give them like a small amount and then put it in it, just so you make sure that they drink the whole thing, because I know sometimes kids may not finish their entire juice for the morning or at all. So I always put it inside of her milk, her almond milk for the morning. Another tip is for smaller kids, I still use the syringe, the medicine syringe that comes in any of your children's or toddler baby medicine. I use the syringe, and you can just give that to them and they'll drink it. So I would try it with just giving it to them all natural, just like this, or putting it inside of what they drink for the morning. If you are consistent with using this every day, then you will notice a difference, especially if your child goes to school or daycare, of their symptoms being less or non-existing at all when they come in contact with any other sicknesses within the daycare or school or just anywhere. And I am going to try to take it this year. I don't usually get sick. However, this past year, I've been getting like a little my nose has been running just a little when they have gotten sick. So I am going to try to see how this works out for myself for a little bit, and I'll try it and see how that goes. So I really hope you all enjoyed the recipe. Let me know in the comments if you tried it, if you liked the recipe, and if you want to see more. And then next month I will do a video on all of the remedies I use, natural and not, for babies and toddlers during the sick season. So if you're ready to see that, give me a like, go ahead and follow me, and comment below whatever you want to do. I would appreciate that, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Bye. See you next time.